Well, hello everyone. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome to this week's roundtable discussion. Today we're going to talk about contentment, and I'm excited for us to share different ways people can choose a situation for themselves that's more at ease, where they feel content, and maybe that's a jumping off point towards happiness. And so let's go ahead and get started. It's wonderful to see you, Jonathan and Brian. And I will go into sharing here. Okay. I think if I could sit at this window, I would be content.
Mm.
The view of the ocean. What is it about just watching the waves coming and going? It gives you that lovely feeling of, you know, the rhythm of nature and that everything is all right in the world. I don't know. But I could see being content on this sofa watching the ocean out the window. Okay, so more spaghetti, less upsetty. When in doubt, carb load for a short-term boost. So contentment. There's some research that you'll find down below, but the consensus seems to be you are content when your primary needs are being met. You have social support, you have a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food in your belly. Your relationships are in harmony. Your anxiety, your stress has been reduced. Support is available if you need it. You have a healthy lifestyle, enough sleep, enough water, enough exercise, viable future plans. So if you decided, oh, I might try something, you'll have support in trying it. So more spaghetti, less upsetty. Now here's three other memes. Okay. Enough is a decision, not an amount. So sometimes you could just make a decision. You know what? This is working for me right now, and I'm going to find contentment here until it's time to do something else. It's okay to be okay with how things are going right now. In the middle one, we forget that waking up each day, first thing we should be grateful for, and then also coffee. We woke up today and we have coffee. That's a good start to a day. And then I like this last one. Brian and I were laughing about this. If I shenan once, I'll shenan again. So feel free to engage in shenanigans. Coaches Roundtable crew today. Brian, do you have some thoughts on contentment?
Yeah, so let's talk about contentment. I'm gonna put a really positive spin on it. I think there's some really positive aspects to it. So I think contentment is perfect for like when you're at your job,
Mhm.
for like when you're doing chores, for when you're running errands. Like it's the perfect type of emotion and feeling to have as you're going through, you know, daily life. I think it's just absolutely perfect for that. And honestly, it's kind of a better skill or a better feeling to have for things like work, like going to your job, doing your career. Because, I mean, I think most people would say, unless you have your absolute dream job, you're not going to be able to be like super happy, like, totally overjoyed, like all throughout the day at work. Most people aren't going to find that. But if you can just learn to be very content, like you're just in a good mood throughout the day, you're just content. That's a huge skill that will give you a lot more longevity at your job so you don't burn out. I think that's a great skill to have. And I've had days like this at jobs that I've worked where I just had a good feeling throughout the day. And I was like, I was just content and I really liked that. I liked that I could be content just doing a normal job. Like that kind of felt like an achievement to me. In a way, it is an achievement. Like if you can go be a dishwasher or a cook or a waiter or work at a factory or work at a tire shop or whatever, and just be content throughout your shift, that really is an achievement. Like you have a certain inner mastery there, and that's beautiful. I mean, I didn't feel it every day at my, jobs that I've had, but I did have days where I felt that. And it was great. That was just a great thing. So I think any type of positive state that you can really like maintain and it lasts is super valuable. And I think we really tend to forget that because people are always seeking like the really super high highs,
Mhm.
but those can't really be maintained for most people most of the time. Maybe
Mhm.
there's some exceptions, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
some super high spiritual figure or something, but for most people, most of the time, they're not going to maintain like a state of bliss or unconditional love or just like endless joy. So, but finding states that they can just maintain that are positive, like you can always be content. Or like both you guys have spoken about gratitude. You can always tap into gratitude. Like stuff that you can maintain that's positive is super valuable. Because you can always go to that. And I do think we tend to forget that. So I'll tell you about a Instagram video I just saw. The channel is called Grateful Fishing TV on Instagram. Right?
Okay.
That's the Instagram account. And it's actually got a Vietnamese guy who moved to America. And so his name's like Uncle Chino, I think. That's what they call him. And so he had a he has like his little wisdoms that he gives out, and they also do some fishing. And so basically he was saying it's not about making more money and more money and more money and more money. He's like, because if you'll never be satisfied. I mean, if you make 1 million, but then you want 5 million, and then when you make that, you want 10 million, you're never satisfied. So you're not going to be happy that way. He's like, it's just about being happy, like pick a level you want to be at, and then just be happy. Just get there and just be happy. And that's contentment. And then you're done, because you're like, this is what I wanted, this is what I got. I'm happy, I'm content, I'm good. And I think in American culture, um, we have this thing where we like people brag about being never satisfied. They brag about sort of basically not being content because it's seen in the light of that means you're always trying to advance further, right? And I get that, but I think the problem with that is then you never find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like, so when are you going to be happy then? Never. I'm never satisfied. I'm never happy. I just want more money and I want more cars and more houses and more women and more. Okay, so when are you going to actually enjoy it? When are you going to be happy? I'm never satisfied. I keep going like, okay, well, that doesn't really work. You need to actually be happy or be content in life, right? You have to enjoy it. So that's a problem with that. So it kind of becomes like you're seeking a mirage. You keep like delaying your happiness because you never want to be content to try to keep advancing, but like you should actually be happy in life or content. So there's kind of a paradox there. It might help you keep leveling up, but like you need to be happy and enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point? So, yeah, so basically, that's what I would say. So, but I think anything that really, any positive state that's easy to tap into that people can maintain or sustain is really good. And contentment is a great way to do that, just like gratitude. I think people should totally like have that in their toolbox of things they can, tap into.
I love that. Thank you so much. I know we're ambitious people and we have this big ambition. I mean, we're part of Alive Designed and this is our 51st roundtable on YouTube. So we have things we're doing, but they have that saying about don't forget to smell the roses along the way. And I think that points to contentment. Be ambitious, build a company, Decide to become a doctor. I mean, whatever your ambitions are, invent the thing you've been dreaming of. You can still smell the flowers along the way. Your grind doesn't have to make you miserable. You can be happy and grinding, happy and seeking ambitious pursuits, if you're deliberate and conscious about it. What are your thoughts on contentment, Jonathan?
Mm, In my experience, actually, I was about to ask you, does anybody has the actual like the dictionary definition of contentment?
Mm.
Because if if somebody has, I would love to
Yeah.
have to listen to what is actually says.
The thing
But
I looked up, it said it was the opposite of discontent.
okay, so it's very it's like a
Mhm.
black and white kind of. Okay, I
Mhm.
see. Yeah. So I was going to say, in my experience,
Mhm.
I I like gratitude. The feeling of gratitude is more create creative
Mhm.
and positive. Like it's more like higher vibration than content.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
but I have been guilty of contempt for many reasons. Emotionally content, being in a job and being content,
Mhm.
waking up, having coffee, or
Mhm.
something more strong than coffee and being
With
content,
more
right?
turbocharged than coffee.
Um, but it's a great start because contempt, at least you are not suffering your whatever that it is that you're going through.
Mhm.
So it is like a skill, actually. It sounds like it's like a skill. You can go through your day, through your job schedule without messing up your whole life.
Mhm.
But when it comes to forget about money, I think that's why I like gratitude better.
Mhm.
Because yes, you can be grateful for whatever that it is that you're experiencing, but let's say you do not know anything better, and then you are in a family situation or emotional
Mhm.
engagement with
Mhm.
someone, let's say like a relationship, and
Mhm.
because you do not know anything better, then you're going to feel contempt, and then you might think that that is a good thing, but in reality, I see contempt as a a two-edged sword kind of thing,
Mhm.
because if you're not conscious of what are the possibilities, like what if there's something not better but just different.
Mhm.
Like, who knows? It might be worse. You never know. But the option is there. So if you're always feeling contempt, if you're ignorant and contempt, I think it's a bad combination.
Mhm.
If you are conscious and then you choose to be content,
Mhm.
then by all means do so. So so far, those are my thoughts on.
Well, I thought I would share a map of consciousness, and then Brian, we're going to look at that. So let's see if I can do that. Um, I'll come out of this, stop share. I don't know if I can switch over to something else. Let's see if I can.
We got this. If not, you can guide us through.
We can do this. We can do this. Okay, so I'm going to come into some other tab. Okay, and then come out of that tab and, oh, okay. See, I apologize for, there we go. I had to escape. I've escaped. Okay. Oops. Okay. I'm now finally ready, I think, to share the map of consciousness.
If it doesn't work, that's fine.
Yep. We're gonna try one more time. Here we go. Ta-da! I think we have it. Do you see it?
I see it. Yeah, yeah.
So when we were talking, Jonathan, about this map of consciousness, um, that is from David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins, we're wondering, where is contentment? And, we have the lowest frequency, sort of feeling nature at the very bottom with shame, and the highest at enlightenment. But we were estimating that contentment might be kind of in the middle here at acceptance. So it might be trust in a process or trust in a faith. For instance, we can be content with a meditation practice that maybe has not yet yielded the results we want, but we're going to put in the meditation sessions, put in the laps. And you know, 350 is a happy state of being, even though we may not be ultimately satisfied there. It's a place of contentment. As you guys talked about gratitude in the research I'm showing, in the notes below, their advice, if you're discontent, is to start with gratitude, to move towards contentment, to kind of climb the ladder of the frequency, and then to stop scrolling your social media, because that may be a source of discontent, the comparison sickness. He has more, or she has more. So dial down the social media involvement and dial up the gratitude, and that may move you towards a state of contentment. From there, you can build further. Brian, you might have some thoughts, and thanks for your patience while I figured out how to share that map of consciousness.
Yeah, I'm not sure where David Hawkins would put it on there, but it's definitely above 200. I mean,
Mhm.
it definitely on the positive side of neutral, I would say. But yeah, acceptance. I mean, I think that's super powerful, and 350 is really far above the average level of humanity. So, like, way more. So, um, it's interesting. Like, if you think about, see, I guess we're talking about acceptance now. I'll go off on a tangent a little bit here, but if you think about, if you accept everything, that means you have no enemies with reality. You're just in acceptance. Anything you don't like, it's like you're at war against it. You're basically stating, no, I don't think it deserves to exist. It should be taken out. So, but acceptance is moving up towards the levels of love and forgiveness, which is like 500 plus on that map of consciousness. That's where, I mean, you actually love everything. You fully, I mean, you believe in everything. You want to be a part of everything. You embrace everything. It's not just accepting it. And I would say really from that level beyond, I mean, basically you don't really suffer. So what this is getting at is all the suffering comes from basically being at war with reality. There's things you don't think should be allowed to exist. And the fact that you're against reality puts you in a state of suffering, right? So, but I feel like contentment is, I don't know, it's not the full way there, but it's sort of like a shortcut
Mhm.
where maybe you could get there quicker,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
Um, and I actually think it can be a really positive thing. It depends on how we define it and how we look at it. But like if you can be content with how much money you make, content in your marriage, content with your family or how much stuff you have, you're doing pretty well.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of people divorce, a lot of people are jealous or, not happy, discontent. I actually think you're doing pretty well compared to most humans, honestly, if you're just in a state of contentment.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's anything to sneeze at. But of course, we always want to go to as high a state of being as possible. But that also takes courage. I mean, if you want to look at the David Hawkins stuff, I mean, he talks about when he went to really high states of consciousness, like you're basically surrendering your life. Like, I mean, he lived that. Like he had moments where he felt like he couldn't move his body. Like Yogananda talks about that too in Autobiography of Yogi. Like bliss can take you over. You're frozen.
Mhm.
You're not in control of your body anymore. And then you have this feeling like I might just die right here. Maybe I'm a statue now.
Mhm.
I'll never be able to move. Like maybe I just won't be able to eat and I'll just die here. And you have to just accept it.
Mhm.
Because there's like other states of consciousness that can take you over. Like a lot of people don't necessarily want that or have the courage to venture into that. Contentment's like you're still really normal. You're still like really human. You're really normal, but you're feeling good. Like you're cool with your situation. You're in kind of a good state, kind of a good mood. So I think that's a lot of people I think would be really happy to be there. So that's what I mean. I think it's nothing to sneeze at. So
I appreciate that. You know, Jonathan, they have a saying back when so many people worked in cubicles, you would come across this little sign in cubicles or on coffee cups, and it would say, "Bloom where you are planted." Like you don't have to argue with which field you're in. Bloom in the field in which you are planted. So if your season of life, if your circumstances has you in this job as an accountant for a corporation, you can choose to flourish as much as possible right in the soil you're currently planted in. You could choose to make the absolute best of it. And I think about, as coaches, when we're talking with people, they could be in a season of life that says, it's 6 months before I have my certificate, and then I can go get this job I want. But for the next 6 months, I'm going to flourish and be content that my plan is in place and I'm going to move forward. And then I'll be able to go get hired because I have this certificate. Or it could be that the kids are still at home and haven't gone off to school. But once they're in school, I can go out and have a workday job, from 9 to 2 and achieve some of the dreams I have while the kids are in school so I can have a fuller life. That there might be times in life where you're going to be content until the next thing happens and you're moving towards the next thing. That it's kind of a choice to flourish in the ground you're currently planted in. Do you have some thoughts about contentment that way?
Yeah, I see contentment as like the red carpet over which the footsteps of joyfulness walk upon on. Like it's
Mhm.
like okay, here's welcome. This
Mhm.
is the way, and then it's like a base. So yes, it is positive. I just see it like it can be like a trap, especially when it comes to,
Mhm.
let's say you do not know better when it comes to relationships with family members.
Mhm.
Let's say your grandparents,
Mhm.
uncles, aunts.
Mhm.
If you do not know something different, you might be contempt, which is a
Mhm.
positive state of mind. It is more positive than negative, so it's on the
Mhm.
positive side. But it can be like a trap
Mhm.
because it takes courage to go beyond contentment.
Yes.
Yes, because it is unknown. So I agree. It is a positive state of mind, but
Mhm.
I see it as a like a like a beginning, like at the beginning of something that is just more beautiful than like it's a great start. Don't get me wrong. Like it is a
Mhm.
beautiful start because
Mhm.
yes, if you can go to work without having a shit face all day, like it is a great start. Like if you can feel good with what you're doing, it's a beautiful start. But then from there, you can explore all these different like opportunities. Um, and then the next question that it occurs to me is how do you move past contentment and that will take because the next feeling for somebody that only knows contentment is going to be very is going to be something unknown, so it's going to shake them and then they're going to be probably frightened and scared because who knows what if it's worse. Like so it is a it is an interesting
Mhm.
ch- uh, shift of mindset, and it comes down to mindset. But I will definitely recommend it is worth it
Mhm.
if you, because everybody has an internal compass. Like I have met some humans
Mhm.
that they are not only content, but they are joyful doing something that I look at, like personally, I look at that and I think to myself, it will be so hard for me to be, forget about joyful, even contempt to
Mhm.
like do that. I just cannot even imagine, right? But
Mhm.
I see them and I see the look in their faces, like the way their eyes like
Mhm.
shine, and I'm like, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
So it is a great start.
Mhm.
But if your internal compass, if it's actually telling you that there's probably something
Mhm.
more powerful that you're feeling drawn towards, and
Mhm.
it scares you,
Mhm.
especially if you feel scared,
Mhm.
then it is a positive sign because it's pushing your boundaries. If
Mhm.
it doesn't scare you, forget about it. Don't even mind. But if it actually feels like something in your stomach, like butterflies and dinosaurs and everything in between, like then by all means follow it because it's going to expand not only your mindset but like your whole experience. But it's a great start.
It's
Contentment is a good.
wonderful. Yeah, no, we'll do our final round here. And as coaches, we talk with people who say, as Jonathan did, I have dinosaurs stomping around my stomach. You know, my relationship was fine. We were happy. I've been in this job 5 years. It's been great, but it's not anymore. Like I don't understand why I've had this string of contentment, of happiness, and now it's not enough. So I'm being pushed, I'm being invited, whether circumstances do that for you. You know, they're closing the factory, they're closing this, if you don't move to Tennessee, you can't keep your job. Whatever change might be forced upon you, or internally, this isn't enough for us anymore. We have to go in a new direction. And so while we have been content, we are now no longer, and we need to have the courage to make other choices. So, Brian, do you have final thoughts about what people can do when it's time to say, okay, this has been good, and now it's time for something different?
Well, I'll get back to contentment here, but yeah, to address that real quick, you should always do what you think you need to really do deep down, or what you feel you need to do deep down.
Mhm.
I think people should be totally authentic unto death. I mean, if it kills you, just die. That's actually how I feel. But I don't mean to do like evil things though. I'm not saying like, oh, I want to be the greatest serial killer of all time. No, 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 don't do that.
No,
But
no, no.
anything that's not anything that's
Down with
not
serial killers, down with serial.
negative to other people. If it's just like a dream you have for yourself, yeah, I mean, however you really feel you should live, you should just do it. Um, Consequences be damned.
Mhm.
But so I want to give another example of where contentment can be really positive that we've all experienced. So imagine you go to like, the post office, and you're trying to mail something.
Mhm.
We've all felt the difference between dealing with an employee who's really discontent and an employee who's content.
Mhm.
It makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Like if that person you got to deal with to mail your package is just like horrible attitude, making everything harder than it needs to be. They
Mhm.
make it take 20 minutes when it should only take like 3 or 4 minutes. You're just like, oh my God. And it's going to affect you. But what if they're really in a good mood?
Mhm.
They're content with their job.
Mhm.
They're content with you. They're not giving you any crap. Like you'll be like, wow, that was great. So it is really positive in that way. So I want to mention that. And then getting a little more abstract here, based on some of what you guys mentioned, to me, this is sort of the idea of, I would call it spirit matter versus spirit. So let me say what I'm getting at here. Most humans conceive of consciousness or spirit heavily in relation to matter or events or circumstances. In other words, so sometimes I call this the externalization of emotions. So they heavily think of their state of being as directly related to how much money they have, what's going on in their relationships, what type of events they have going on in their life, whatever type of social status they have, etc. But when we're talking about yogis or people like David Hawkins or, spiritual figures who get advanced, they get into a state where spirit is just spirit. I mean, it literally has nothing to do with what's going on around you. So, like, Yogananda experienced that, David Hawkins, yogis sitting in a cave. If you go into a state where you just close your eyes and you're just blissed out, your spirit has nothing to do like with how much money you have, what your relationships are. You're in your own state. Like you are in your own thing. It's just spirit. Like it's not this spirit in relation to matter thing. It's not this thing like I feel good because I have a fancy car. I feel good because of I have this girlfriend, or I feel good because I have this job that everyone respects and they think that I'm this superior member of society or something. Um, it's like really you're just in its spirit as spirit. You're in a state of consciousness, and that's just what it is. It's just a certain state on the map of consciousness. You're experiencing it in your own individual way, and that's what it is. So, I don't know. People don't have to go there. It's definitely possible. Um, and I think it's great to do that, but I do want people to be aware of that, though. I want people to be able to think about that and be aware of it and at least consider maybe exploring that or experimenting with going into these different kinds of states that are positive. So those are my final thoughts. And
Find you. How
you
do we
can
reach
find
you?
me at alifedesign.org or Special K Coaching on Instagram.
Great. That link will be below. Jonathan, do you have some final thoughts and tell us how to find you?
Yes, I actually agree that if somebody comes to me and tells me that their own spirit does not need anything to be like blissed out and joyful, I will believe them because I have had those moments. Now, I'm not the kind of human that can have those moments with their eyes open. Therefore, I would rather be dead than poor on this lifetime because it's still I'm still in a way that I'm like if I'm by myself, eyes closed, like when I was in India, like just no sex, nothing, just like pure like focus. I can do that, but then I learned about myself, and I was like, well, yes, I could, but I don't want to. I'm more like a devilish in that sense. I'm that kind of like energy, right? I'm more like hands on. But I was like, so in my experience, I have different plans. But I definitely believe that there are some humans. There's no question about it. If they just close their eyes, they have no, not even like food and water. I mean, obviously, progressively they will like vanish, but they will die joyfully. Like it's a fact. Like there's no question about it. Um, Me, I'm a little different. Uh, but definitely it's possible. So I would just say to finish my thought train, if you follow your compass, because we all have it's like an inside compass that we have, and if you actually pay attention, even if it's regardless to like a job environment, family environment, relationship, meaning like a husband and wife environment or girlfriend and boyfriend environment, friendship environment, anything you can come up with that it has to do with your own surrounding environment. If you follow your inner compass, is going to tell you if you're truly actually like content or joyful, or if you actually need to make some moves. And if you feel like you need to make some moves, then it can be scary to make them by yourself, but then that's where there's help.
Mhm.
That's why somebody that can coach you, it means that person has already been through that specific
Mhm.
struggle.
Mhm.
So you're not alone,
Mhm.
and there's so many uh, humans out there that can help you. So do not feel discouraged. And actually, I will actually encourage you to take action,
Mhm.
and because then you can end up being in a position of like a mediocrity. You may think you're just content, but what if then you're gonna be the 83-year-old about to be turning 84, about to die, and thinking, ah, what if I, what if I ask this girl out? Like, what will have happen? Like,
Mhm.
if your inner compass is actually telling you to do something, by all means follow it. If you feel scared or something, there are so many tools to help you.
Mhm.
But yeah, you don't have to stay in in the same situation that you are, just because contempt is the first positive feeling that you have ever experienced. But there are so many layers beyond. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Mhm.
yes, it's a beautiful, positive state of mind. But let me tell you, there are things beyond contempt that
Mhm.
are positive in nature, and it has nothing to do with money, status, or anything. It's just a matter of what makes you experience life in a more joyful way. And you can find me on alivedesign.org, also Jonathan R. Coaching
Mhm.
on Instagram, and email jonathanrcoaching@gmail.com.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we do encourage people to visit alifedesign.org, our about page, and the link will be below. And we have challenges up coming up. We have a monthly coaching session coming up. All those links will be below. But it's okay to be content, and it's okay to say, I'm no longer content, I want more. So there's coaching for both of those things. And we're so happy that you joined us today. Share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.